What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, and today we're talking about football. We're kicking off the NFL season, and I have a special guest today, Mr. Fernando Ramirez. Man, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, how you guys doing? Fernando Ramirez. I cover the LA Chargers for Sports Illustrated, and I've been covering the NFL for a couple of years now, and it's fun with everything going on right now. I mean, we need football, so I'm glad that it's back. And honestly, I'm just excited for this season.
Oh man, I'm excited too, man. You're right. We do need football. I'm pretty sure during these 6 months of the pandemic, I might have had a small breakdown where I was like, man, I gotta have my sports, man. And then The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary came along, and it kind of pacified us a little bit. And then, NBA got the bubble going, and now the NFL is getting ready to get kicked off, man. So, man, I'm excited. I can't wait, man, for sure.
Yeah, no. The Last Dance was incredible. I never would have thought, knowing how Phil Jackson is, I never would have thought he would allow cameras to follow them around and everything.
Never.
So to see all that was fantastic. You know what? I'm going to have you beat a little bit. I like European soccer. So European soccer was back in May and June. So I was actually watching that, and I was getting excited. The only thing is that the best thing about European soccer that I still don't think it's 100% there in the United States is the fandom. Like, I don't know, they just love their teams in a different way over there. So like, I feel like the crowds are so loud and everything that I really did miss that. But obviously everyone's trying to get fans in little by little, not run the risk of anybody catching COVID. So I feel like all leagues are doing a great job when it comes to their precautions and everything. But I'm definitely excited for the season. It's finally here. Today I had to pinch myself when I walked out to the practice field, obviously with a mask and everything. I had to pinch myself, and I'm like, oh, wow, here we go. Let's do it.
Oh, man, for sure. Yeah, football, as they would call it over there,
exactly.
Man. The following is huge, man. I don't even watch really soccer here. I probably watch more international matches than I have matches here in the U.S. because, soccer hasn't been something that really interests me. And the reason I think the fandom isn't the way it is internationally is because our best athletes choose to play other sports.
Exactly.
Soccer's a way of life. There's no football. It's some basketball, but if you're a 7-footer, you're not on the soccer field.
Exactly.
So your best athletes are going to play soccer over there, man.
Can you manage Giannis as a goalie?
Oh my God, man! You can't get nothing through to that guy, man. No. Shoot, man, you want to talk about somebody athletic? Giannis is athletic, man. Imagine JaVale McGee, a 7-footer in the goal, man. Dude, just that wingspan and
and the athleticism. Sure. He's just so crazy athletic that it would just be crazy. Sure. It would be crazy
for sure. Yeah. So you see, I got to rep my guys. Man.
Yo, what are you guys doing? You guys are selling everybody. You guys are just selling everybody.
Oh man, dude, I'm not surprised at the Leonard Fournette move at all because I knew this would be his last year. The writing was pretty much on the wall.
I had heard some stuff about him. Now I don't know if that's true or not. Don't ask me if I think he's a really good running back because I still don't 100% know. If I watch him, and I'm not gonna say he reminds me of Trent Richardson, but like there are times where I kind of see him and I'm like, I don't know if he's just like the holes opened up so well that he just like pile drive through or whatever. But I'm really interested to see if he is really that good of a running back as some people have told. Like I've heard mixed emotions when it comes to Leonard Fournette. I've heard he's a really good running back, and then I've heard he's a terrible running back. So I'm really interested to see now that he's with I was about to say the Patriots because of Tom Brady. Now that he's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm going to be very interested to see how he performs with them.
Oh man, your sentiment is like it's opposite ends of the spectrum. Either you like him or you don't. That's my biggest knock on him has been his vision. Because I've seen breakdowns, you got these guys on YouTube, they analytical. So they break it down and they'll show holes and where the play looks like it's supposed to go. And Leonard goes a totally different way. He's running to the back of people sometimes. And it varies game to game, seem like.
Exactly.
He'll have, like in the Denver game when he went for 200, dude, it's unstoppable. And then he'll go and have like the 50 yards on like 27 carries or something like that. And you wonder, is it our offensive line? Is it because he's running in 8 and 9 man fronts? Is it his vision? Is it, him trying to tiptoe? Because he'll dance sometimes. He's 230 pounds. He'll dance, instead of when he gets up the field and the pass are popping, I mean, he's unstoppable, man.
You know what? Talking about that, on Hard Knocks last night, Anthony Lynn, who is a Chargers head coach, former running back, he tells a running back named Darius Bradwell, the guy's big. He's a big back. He's like, I don't need you dancing 15 times, like over here, like cutting and doing your weird like steps before you take off. Dude, you're a big guy. Just take off and run people over. That's what your job is. Don't cut back. Don't do all that little fancy stuff. That's not the kind of back you are. He's like, use your tools. You have tools. Use them and abuse the other team. And then, and I feel like that's one of the things that a guy like LaShawn McCoy is a perfect example. His tools was what? His elusiveness. He was able to hit holes well. He was able to do things well. What was one of his weaknesses? He would fumble the football because he'd carried it in his hand like this. But going back to the elusiveness, I mean, he was just crazy athletic, and he was able to juke, spin out of stuff. Okay, yeah, that's great. But look at Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson was more about running you over, getting you with his power. So I feel like some running backs today, the bigger backs, need to realize, hey, dude, I have all this strength. I'm so big. Let me use it. Like, don't be ashamed of it. Use it and run dudes over.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, you look at a guy, say like my all-time favorite is Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor should be in the Hall of Fame. Fred, 6'1", 230, 4.3 speed, can run by you and can run you over, and he knew when to do those things. He'll tiptoe sometimes, but he can run around you, so he could tiptoe.
No, and it's sometimes that's what sucks. Sometimes it's a popularity contest. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and we were talking about Antonio Gates, and I'm like, first ballot Hall of Famer. He's like, you would think, and I'm like, shut up. He's like, sometimes these guys are a little bit
what?
Yeah, he's like, sometimes these guys are a little weird and they don't take some of these guys. And I'm like, no way. He's like, I'm just saying, you just never know. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, I could not, if Antonio Gates is not getting as a first ballot Hall of Famer, I wouldn't, I'd be like, whoa, like, that's crazy.
Dude, people in San Diego and LA, even though they are new to LA, they need to riot, man. They need to go on the steps.
I think it would be people all over the NFL that would be like, what? Like, that's kind of like, I don't know if you remember, but when Junior Seau got inducted, they had him in a Patriots jersey. And people were like, why are you putting him in a Patriots jersey when, like, there was a banner of his and it had him in a Patriots jersey, and people were like, why are you putting him in a Patriots jersey? Like, he made most of his career playing for the Chargers. So, it's you just sometimes, like, some of these people that have those votes and stuff, I'm kind of like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where you just question a lot of, like, Don Coryell, ex-Chargers head coach. He was in the
Eric Coryell.
Eric Coryell. He's not in the Hall of Fame. And I asked, why do you think he's not in the Hall? I've asked people, why do you think he's not in the Hall of Fame? They say his coaching record, which it was basic, but thanks to him,
man,
we have the aerial offensive play that we do today. Like,
football would not be the same.
Exactly. Kellen Winslow is now Kellen Winslow. He revolutionized the tight end position.
Yep.
He's the godfather of the tight end position. Then you have just everything that they did, everything that they ran is just incredible.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man, Coryell was a innovator, man. He should go in as a coach and an influencer alone.
Contributor. Yeah, exactly.
Contributor alone. He could go in as a coach and contributor.
I'm 100% with you, but I mean, people look at records, people look at all that stuff, and you're kind of like, dude, don't go off of records. Look at what he did for the game alone, and you'll see that he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. So now we got coming up Thursday night. We got the Chiefs and the Texans kicking off, and I'm excited because did you see? I don't know how active you are on Twitter. But did you see when Deshaun got his extension? He got the $160 million over the 4-year extension. Shannon Sharp retweeted it, and he was basically talking about how, what's the details of the deal, because it's not a 4-year deal, $160 million. It's a 6-year deal with 160 stacked on top of what he was already making. So it doesn't look as lucrative as 4 years, 160. So
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey retweeted Shannon Sharp, say, "Hey man, you need to stop pocket watching David. Mulligeta's a great agent." Kind of
Oh,
went off on
dude.
Shannon a little bit. And
Dude.
Shannon hit him with the, "Hey, I ain't talking to guys who ain't won nothing. I got 3 Super Bowl rings. You need to get yours, youngster." He went in on him a
Yeah.
little bit, man.
And you know what? I've met Shannon. Shannon's a great guy, but like the older guys, they don't like to be disrespected by the younger guys. So you could tell that's why he was copping back. But let me tell you this: David Mulugheta, from what I've heard, is the greatest agent right now.
Man,
in the game.
sing his praises.
Yeah, no, and I'm around Derwin James. I'm around Casey Hayward. I'm around Melvin Ingram. And those are his main guys, and I hear them, and they're like, "Yeah, David, David, greatest agent, blah," and they tell me all this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh wow." Then I've heard other people who have told me, "Yeah, no, David's the best agent out there right now." And you look at his list of clientele; it's literally every offseason you hear David Mulugheta's his guy gets paid. Every offseason you hear about 3 or 4 Mulugheta guys that get paid. And you're like, wow, just top-notch agent stuff. And today he got Jalen Ramsey paid.
Got him paid.
Exactly.
Man,
so it's just one of those things where he really gets his guys paid. And hats off to him. He's just a great agent. He does and it's funny because I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, but every time something like that happens, or one of his guys congratulates another guy, he puts #family ties. And that's what I've heard. I've heard that he treats his clients as family and that they're all family. So it's one of those things where it's rare to hear. I mean, it is rare to hear an agent speak about that, like family. And David's very about that. And I feel like that's what Athletes First is all about too, is all about family. So honestly, hats off to him for what he did and what he's doing for all of his clients. But yeah, no, I know a lot of the veteran players don't like hearing from the young guys copping back at them, but I think David did exactly what he needed to do for Deshaun Watson. And now with that contract with Deshaun, the ball's in Jerry Jones's court for Dak Prescott, which is another situation I'm very interested in.
Oh man, I'm not a Cowboy hater, but they talk about him so much that I have to cover him. I have to. I have no choice but to cover because they talk about him so much. And I've been on that pay Dak. You could have got him for much cheaper than you're going to have to pay him now a while ago. But Jerry Jones, being Jerry Jones, did not pay him. Now, I don't know how much influence Steven had in not paying Dak, but I think Steven has done a great job as well.
You know what's funny with that is that I feel like Steven has really taken not over in the last couple of years, but I think he's done a great job. From what I've heard, he's had a lot of input in the draft picks that they've had. Now I've heard before that he wanted Johnny Manziel. Jerry did.
Yeah.
And that he
Jerry
told him,
wanted him.
Let's go get Travis Frederick and let's
solidify
our offensive line. And they got Travis Frederick, and that looks like a great move. But you know what? I really do think I don't know what's going on with Dak and that, just because I wish I covered the Cowboys, just because that'd be a lot of fun. But listening to everything that I've heard, I mean, last year I remember after week 1 they had beaten the Giants and Jerry Jones were a couple of days away. Well, dude, it's been a year and you still haven't gotten that contract done. So a couple of days must mean like nothing to him. It must mean something else to him than us. But I'm very interested to see what is going to end up happening, because Dak, I mean, has done everything that they've asked him to do. I mean, last year he had a kind of a down year, but I mean, we're all entitled to a bad season, aren't we? So I think this year with CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and then Michael Gallup, and then Zeke, I think they're going to have a better team than what people are talking about. But it's all going to rest on Dak. If Dak is able to get the ball to Amari, who got paid, and Zeke, who got paid last year, and a CeeDee Lamb, I think he's gonna force the Cowboys' hands. Now, my question is, if he makes it to the NFC Championship or even the Super Bowl, and I say that they don't win it, but right there he's bumped it up, because I think Deshaun's making 39. So I think Dak would be he would ask for 41 to 45. And now it's like, Jerry, you weren't willing to pay him 34. You weren't willing to pay him 38. Now are you willing to pay him 43, 44, or let a team like Washington sneak in and grab them, or some other team come up and grab them.
Or Jacksonville.
Well, I think you guys are on that Trevor Lawrence train. So,
man, everybody's been talking about that too. Yeah, man. But I believe in Gardner. I believe in Gardner Minshew. I do.
I think Gardner Minshew is the funnest quarterback right now in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady and him are up there because I love how Tom Brady, ever since he left the nest, now he's like having fun. He's like, today I think he wrote on Instagram or somewhere, "Hi mom, hi dad, had so much fun in camp. Can't wait to see you guys soon. Having fun with my friends." And I'm like, dude, where was this Tom Brady the last 20 years?
Man, it's like when Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City and he went to Golden State. Russell Westbrook dropped a Jordan commercial for his signature shoe, and then the song that they use for the commercial is "Do What I Want" by Lil Uzi Vert. And so, remember that? He's like, "Now I do what I want. Now I do what I want." That's Brady. Brady can do what he want now. You know?
Exactly.
You don't have that cold stare.
I know.
You know, when people, you don't have that looking at you now.
I'm definitely excited to see Tampa Bay this year. Unfortunately, game one, I won't be able to watch him because I'll be in Cincinnati covering Chargers and Bengals. But I'm definitely going to watch that game after. I'm going to rewatch it because I'm very interested to see what Tom Brady brings now in Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay. I heard it's Tampa.
So, yes, it is. It's Tampa Bay.
I apologize for that, and I hope his representatives don't come at me for that one.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. There's so many storylines headed into the season. Of course, Tampa Bay, life after Phillip Rivers. I'm very upset that I have to see him twice a year now because I don't know if you know, his record against the Jaguars is immaculate. It's like 9-1, 27 touchdowns, only 3 picks, 120 quarterback rating.
Wow,
it's something crazy. And the one time we beat him, we had a transcendent defense.
I remember that game.
And Blake Bortles did all he could to give the game away.
Yeah, no, I remember that. That was the game where Phillip got I think Yannick and somebody else just flipped him. They gave him a concussion, and I think he still played the rest of the game.
Yeah, he did.
I believe so. And Austin Eckler was a rookie. He fumbled at the he fumbled in their.
He was killing this too.
Yeah, he was destroying them. And then he fumbled, and then Jacksonville took over. Josh Lambo got his revenge against the Chargers. Yeah, and he literally kicked the Chargers out of the playoffs because the Chargers right there were they started the season 0-4. They finished 9-3 or something like that, and they almost made the playoffs, but they weren't able to because of that loss to Jacksonville. I remember they were angry about that loss to Jacksonville, and I was like, "Hey, you guys had picked off Blake Bortles 3 times and weren't able to do anything with it." So.
Man,
it was a crazy game.
Watching that team, which I knew Jacksonville, we had a really good team. Or
y'all got screwed in that AFC Championship, though. I'm just gonna say it right now.
Miles Jack
was not down.
Miles Jack wasn't down. Yeah, but that year I knew we were real when we went to Pittsburgh and laid that 30-9 whooping on them.
That one was nasty.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
But I went to the Chargers game, and man, watching Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram come off the edges, watching Phillip Rivers, Austin Eckler, and all those guys, I'm like, man, this is a really good team, and we went toe-to-toe and beat them. We must be a really good team, you know? Yeah. But all that's the past now because now we rank 32nd, and we're in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, and, Leonard Fournette's talking about now he has a real quarterback, which I can't get mad at him because he's had Blake Bortles and Gardner. They're not Tom, so I can't get mad at that. I can't get mad at that at all.
Yeah, I mean, if he was going from Gardner to I'm not trying to disrespect any quarterback, but if he was going to Ryan Fitzpatrick, then I mean, you kind of say something. But he's going with arguably this greatest football player of all time.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, yeah, man. So I cannot get upset with him about that. So tell me what you think about this. I've been one of those people where I'm glad that, the season is kicked off. We're going to play football, but I don't believe that they won't finish. I don't believe they'll finish the season. I'm not on wood, but I don't believe that they're going to finish the season because it's too many variables that need to come together for it to happen. Number one, the kids have to listen. So we're talking about 20, 21, 22-year-olds that just got money who you're telling them to stay in the house, don't go out, don't be around, a whole bunch of people. And they have had nothing. And now they're rich and they can't go out and ball out and spend it like they want to. And, you got to have some luck because you can just get somebody to breathe on you, then you give it to the whole team.
Yeah.
So,
well, when you said whole lot of people, I thought you were going a different route with that word. And I was like, I wonder where he's going with this. But hey, you said a whole lot of people. So there you go.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm going to be completely honest. I think they will. And I'll tell you why. These guys know what happens if the season doesn't finish. A lot of these guys will not be paid. And that's the honest truth. A lot of these guys will not be paid. Yeah, you have the contracts that are guaranteed, like Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, all these guys.
Right.
But then you have those lower tier guys who, and I don't mean to disrespect them by saying lower tier, but I just mean contract wise. They're
trying to get theirs.
So, yeah, exactly. And they like some of these guys are in contract years. They're gonna want to get their money, and I feel like a lot of you have the upper echelon of the guys getting paid. I think that lower tier players are gonna be like, you know what, we have to do this. We have to get paid. I think that if we're looking at it, baseball, a lot of people told me baseball wasn't gonna make it. Baseball's doing well right now. When you look at soccer, a lot of people said, oh no, I don't know. I think soccer's doing well. The NFL, honestly, I understand where you're coming from. The NFL is a different monster in a sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like the NFL will make it through just because the players are willing to listen. I mean, honestly, and I'm being fair with this. The Chargers have been criticized in the past for not being proactive, not doing this, being reactive, whatever. Brandon, they were proactive when it came to COVID. They've been all about like us. We have to wear masks. We're not allowed to talk to the players anymore. We have to stand back. They've done everything proactive when it comes to COVID-19. I've heard a lot of teams are doing that exactly the same. But I think the Chargers were the focal point of it because head coach Anthony Lynn, I don't know if you had heard, but he contracted COVID.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, he had contracted COVID, and he's like, you know what, we're gonna attack this. So I think Philadelphia's coach also got it, and also Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints. Those are the three head coaches that we know that have gotten it. I think those three teams are going to be extremely careful when it comes to dealing with COVID. And I feel like a lot of these teams are really going to take it seriously because they know what it means. It means it. And honestly, I don't mean to put more pressure on these players, but you have the PR staff. You have all these different people that are counting on you guys to make the season happen because if not, they don't get paid. So it's one of those things where I think the NFL players understand. They understand what's going on, and they know what could happen. So I honestly, and the numbers are down right now. So I'm very impressed that the numbers are down. I mean, you had the one incident with the kid in Seattle trying to sneak in a girl.
Man, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, you have that one, but I mean, that's the only incident that I've heard so far. So I think it's positive the way it's been. I mean, it's literally, dude, settle down for 3 or 4 months, and then you can do whatever the hell you want after February. So I'm more of an optimist, and I think I'm an optimist when it comes to a lot of stuff. So I'm an optimist. I think that the season's gonna. I think the season will go through. I mean, are there gonna be hiccups? Probably, but I don't think that they'll stop the season for anything. I think unless something huge happens.
Yeah.
I don't see them stopping the season, but from what I've seen from the Chargers and from what I've heard about because I have a buddy that covers the Rams, I mean, they've been doing a great job when it comes to this. And I mean, if they can continue and not lazy, but if they don't get comfortable, they need to continue this and make sure that they take all the measures to make sure that the players are safe, the coaches are safe, the staff are safe, and obviously that they get the best product out there on the field.
Oh man, and I will say this, Fernando. As a fan, you've made me very, very comfortable now that thinking that they'll make it through the season because now whatever worries I kind of had, now you've lifted them, off my shoulders a little bit.
There you go. Hey, anything I can do to help you. I might get a psychology degree also. So there you go. You can talk to me anytime.
Man, hey, I got a lounger over here too. The little lounger you lay on and tell them your problems. I got one of those already, man. So we'll be good to go.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the NFL. Now, football is king. NFL is number one, but NBA is right behind them, nipping at their heels. I think they're ahead of the NFL as far as player relations are concerned. Yeah. And and they work with their players more than NFL owners have. They're coming along, but it's very slow. It's a very slow process. But if you want to be like your brothers in the NBA, who, they, because you could tell when the NFL players are jealous of the money those guys make, because guys you've never heard of making 25 mil a year who plays like 10 minutes a game, and they're like, man, I'm way better than that guy. But hey, that's their league. So if you want to be like those guys, look what they did. They've had 0 positive tests since they started the bubble.
Well,
0.
And if I could play devil's advocate, there's only 15 players playing on an NBA team.
Right. Yeah,
in the NFL, it's like 70. But no, I understand what you're coming from.
And you can't bubble in
NFL. The only trouble with that is that a bubble would be so hard.
You can't do it.
Yeah, it's like, say in one hotel, you'd probably need about 500 rooms for the. I mean, in the NBA, what do you need? You need about 30 to 40. Here you need about 4 to 5 or 3 to 400 hotel rooms, and that's just for each team. So I think a bubble would be totally difficult. And then you need because think about it, if you put it in say that you have about 5 or 6 solid beat writers for every team, that would mean an extra, and that's 32 teams, that's an extra like 100 hotel. Honestly, it'd be a complete mess that I don't think the NFL wants to deal with. And I feel like the NFL feels like their respective teams, the coaches, and everybody can be responsible enough to have their players kind of. And that's the thing, is that like I said, for my personal, I don't know about the other 31 teams, but dealing with the Chargers players, I've heard all of them say, we need to be responsible. Anthony Lynn has said this before. I think the team that wins the Super Bowl is going to be the team that best handles COVID. And I feel like that could be true too, because I mean, you just never know. I mean, right now, I don't know if like Neymar from PSG and Kylian Mbappe, 2 of their best players, have COVID. So now they're out for a couple of weeks because they have COVID and they have to test positive 3 times. They have to test negative 3 times when they come back to the team. So it's going to be one of those things where if you miss even a little bit of time, you're going to miss out. So, and I know the NBA season is 80 games and then plus an extra 20 probably for the playoffs. In the NFL, you only have 16 games. You do not want to miss any of those games.
None.
The NFL is more and I feel like that's why the NFL is number 1, Brandon, because it's so valuable. You only have a small little piece of pie. The NBA gives you a whole pie. The NFL gives you a piece of pie, and you have to make that last for 4 months.
Yep.
So that's the only dessert you're gonna. That's gonna be your diet, Brandon. That's gonna be your diet. Only one piece of pie for the next 4 months. So you have to eat little pieces, little by little. Eat a little bit of the pie as you go. But honestly, I feel like the NFL will do what they need to do, and I feel like the NFL, the NBA, and the MLS and Major League Baseball are all showing different ways of being able to control COVID. I mean, baseball in the first couple of weeks, everybody's like, "Oh, the season's about to get shut down." But the MLB, I'll give them credit, they didn't freak out. They said, "You know what? Let's relax. Let's give let's have the Marlins take a couple of days off. I think it was the St. Louis
Phillies."
The Phillies.
The Phillies.
Let's let them take a couple of days off and then let them redo the games towards the end of the season." My hats off to them. I mean, the MLB, and I'll tell you right now, the NFL wouldn't have, but I think 1 or 2 other, maybe MLS would have blinked and said, "Oh shit," oh, never mind. Like, let's not do this. Let's stop the season. And the MLB, to their credit, did not stop it, and they keep on going. So credit to them for that.
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. So, I mean, for the NFL and the most healthiest team, of course, and the one that handle COVID's the best. And like you said, they only give you a piece of the pie. So depending on how you start your season, every game could turn into a playoff game. So you could be in the middle of the season, and if you started 2-6, you got to win the rest of your games.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's where I think football stands head and shoulders above the rest, because you got 7-game series in the NBA, you got the 5 and 7-game series in MLB. But
in the NFL, it's win or go home.
Win or go home. That's why March Madness is so hot, because it's win or go home. Yeah,
exactly. And you know what? I like watching some of these games in the NBA. I'm like, dude, why can't the first 2 rounds be the best out of 5 games, or the best out of 5 would be so.
They talked about shortening it.
Yeah, and I think they should. Those first two rounds, I feel like they should, just because I mean the Lakers had already proven that they'd beaten Portland 3 games in a row. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
come on, like let's go on to the next series. And right now, I mean, if they beat Houston tomorrow night, that should
Yeah.
be the
So
end of the
yeah.
series. Just because that fourth game, I know the Cavs came back on the Warriors and everything, but in that lower seeded series, there's no way.
No.
There's no way
No.
a team could lose in 3-1 or be down 3-1 and then possibly come back. I mean, I
Yeah.
understand it when it's Eastern Conference and Western Conference and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Houston drops this one. This is pretty much a wrap. Just like when Miami went up 3-0. You could have
Yeah.
called it then because it was over.
Yeah, no, 100%. Even in Game 4, they just like the Heat look sluggish. They look like okay, like dude, we've already won this.
We got this.
No Giannis. Yeah, like exactly. But yeah, no, in the NFL, it's like it's either you win the game or you're going home, and that's why fans are on edge, and it's like you don't have a hey, maybe we'll get them in Game 2. No, there ain't no Game 2. So that's what everybody loves about the NFL, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So, matter of fact, I was talking to a coworker earlier, and I told him about my interview coming up. You know, he's been very supportive of me getting,
That's awesome.
doing this stuff and getting my podcast started. You know, he's been very supportive. So he asked me, he was like, "What about the impact not having Phillip Rivers has had on the community, and not just Los Angeles, but San Diego as well? Like, is there the differences and things you can tell?"
You know what? Because of the pandemic, I haven't been able to tell all that much, but I know Philip was involved in a couple of things here in San Diego when it came to that. I'll tell you, from a football standpoint, it does feel weird. Like today, we had today's quarterback day for the Chargers. So Wednesday, they always give us a quarterback. When I saw Tyrod Taylor come up to the podium, I'm like, oh wow! Like, I mean, I guess during training camp, I really didn't feel it, but now you feel it, and you're like, oh wow! Like, it's not Phillip Rivers, but I mean, it was just one of those things where you're like, oh wow, it does feel different sometimes, but I mean, it's kind of business as usual. Let's keep it going and all that. So, I'm very in. It does, like I said, it does feel different. But like when you see the offense practicing, you're like, oh wow, yeah, this isn't Phillip Rivers' team. Just because, like you said, Tyrod Taylor is a very athletic quarterback, and he can do a lot of different things. Phillip is a stand in the pocket, let it rip, and he's gonna live and die by his arm. And I mean, as we saw last year, the team, I don't want to say died, but they lost a couple of times because of his decision making and the way he would throw. I mean, I think against they had a Thursday night against Kansas City or against the Raiders. He threw 3 interceptions, and the week after against Kansas City and Mexico City, he threw 4. So it was he just had a bad stretch of football last year, and you could tell the marriage needed to come to an end. And he was on the Pat McAfee show last week, and he said, I just thought it was time. The Chargers thought it was time, and I was like, you know what, you guys can go in your own direction, I'll go in mine. And it was funny because I remember somebody had tweeted out, somebody that I know, they tweeted out, oh, I think Phillip Rivers is putting his house up for sale. I was like, no, he's not. And she had pictures. I look at it and I was like, are you serious? So then I look it up. And,
I saw that.
Phillip had moved his whole family out to Florida. And he said that in Florida, he was sitting around waiting to see if anybody would like contact him. Cause he's like, I know the NFL game is changing, but I feel like I still have a lot to give. And he said when the Colts called him, he was like, oh yeah, no, I'm definitely down. Let's do this. I want to be the quarterback. And now he's the Colts quarterback. So the Colts have a lot of things that Phillip Rivers likes. A great offensive line. They have weapons. The name Michael Pittman Jr., remember that name? USC kid. That kid he can ball. He's 6'5". He went through a lot of different offensive coordinators here at USC, and he just kept on getting better. The Colts drafted him in the second round. They also drafted Jonathan Taylor, running back from Wisconsin. That's another name you're going to hear a lot this season when it comes to the Colts. So I think the Colts got a leader. They know what they're going to get from Phillip. Phillip is very fiery. He doesn't curse. And
that's hilarious to me.
And Brandon, I've heard him. He does not curse. Dadgummit, G Willikers, like he'll say whatever, like any of that stuff. But he really does not curse. So it's actually funny.
I didn't believe it.
No, I know. And that's the funny part. He said one time, he's like, I'm a nice Catholic human being. Do I get fired up? Yeah, I get fired up. But I'm not going to curse at somebody. And I just started laughing because I remember there was a mic'd up a couple of years ago. Somebody cursed at him, and he goes up and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" He's like, "I didn't curse at you. Why are you cursing at me?"
Yeah.
So
They were beating somebody. I can't remember. He's like, now this is what you call a nice rear end whipping, and I was like, oh,
the Raiders.
He really doesn't curse.
Yeah. No. And there was one where he throws a game-winning touchdown. It was like a Sunday night game or a Thursday night against the Raiders. Thursday night, I think it was, and he goes, "Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let the door hit you on the buttocks out or something." Like he said something weird like that, and I just started laughing. I'm like, "Wow." So Philip does not curse. I think Indy's gonna have fun. I think he is perfect for what Indianapolis is as an organization, as a team, as a city. I feel like they're gonna love Philip. He took a head coaching job at a high school that down in Alabama. And so he's going to be a head football coach when he's retired. Now, the Colts and him both said just because he took the job now doesn't mean that he's going to do one season with the Colts and retire. He feels like if he has a strong season with the Colts, he's going to maybe re-up for one more year and then come back and try and go at it. So it'll be interesting. I know he wants to coach his son, Gunner. Gunner's, I think, a 7th or 8th grader right now. So I know that when Gunner gets to high school, Philip does want to coach him up. He's a quarterback also. And Brandon, you're going to laugh. He has the same throwing motion as his dad. So
really?
Yeah. So
I got to see him.
Yeah. So I've seen Gunner before throw the football because after games, Philip and his family go onto the field, no matter if they won or lost, and he throws the ball around with his daughters and his son and his sons. And I saw Gunner one time and he moves his arm like that and he throws it like that too. So I was like, oh wow,
man, that shot put.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess Gunner got the same throwing motion as his daddy. So it'll be very interesting to see if Gunner can make it to play football on Sundays.
Yeah, man, that'd be very interesting, man. Matter of fact, I just saw. I watched some highlights of Shedeur Sanders. Deion's son.
Yeah. I've heard about him.
Look, that kid got ball placement. He has touch. His fundamentals are good.
Right?
Yes, he's a quarterback, man. And you can tell he's been coached up.
You know who else I heard about is Archie's son down in New Orleans. That he is just killing it right now. So honestly, I'm excited for the future of football. People are always like, "What's going to happen with the future of football?" I'm excited. I think if Deion Sanders' son can make it, Frank Gore's son just started in college, and Frank Gore's still playing in the NFL. I find that so funny. He's still playing in the NFL, and his son. And his son just started playing college ball. So I'm excited for what some of like obviously for Sanders, it's going to be hard to be his dad. For Archie, it's going to be hard to be Peyton. It might not be that hard to be Eli. No, I'm just kidding. It will be hard to be. But it definitely, I'm excited to see those young kids come up and see what they got when it comes to their games.
Oh yeah, man! 3 guys that I watched in college football that made me feel old. You know, because I'm 31, I'll be 32 on the 14th. So Antoine Winfield Jr.
Oh, I'm excited to watch him.
Asante Samuel Jr.
Is he in the NFL?
No. He's still at Florida State.
Okay.
So I watched him when watching him in college football.
Asante Samuel Jr.
And Patrick Surtain Jr.
Wow, where's he at?
Alabama. He's the top corner for Alabama, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, number 2. Man, made me feel old.
I remember watching Asante Samuel on those Patriot teams.
Yes, man.
Asante Samuel was very underrated. He was
very underrated, very much so.
To his game. Wow, I didn't know Asante Samuel's son was at Florida State.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that when we first interviewed Derwin James when he got drafted, I asked him, I'm like, at Florida State, he's like, you mean DBU? I'm like, sorry, at DBU.
Yes, it's DBU.
And he's like, make sure you have that DBU. So I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah, DBU, and then
them and LSU battle for it. LSU battle.
Yeah, because LSU had Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, and then Florida State had Jalen Ramsey and Derwin James. So yeah, no, those are 4 guys. That 2v2 is pretty great, to be honest.
Yeah, man. Xavier Rhodes for Florida State.
Rhodes.
And now LSU has a good one. Yeah, LSU has a good one right now. That kid Stingley Jr. is great.
Oh yeah. No, LSU has a very good Coach O has done a really great job down there, and
Yeah.
I feel like he hasn't gotten enough credit. I thought he was going to be the USC head coach, and when they said no, we're good, I was like, oh wow, I guess. And then Ogeron goes down to LSU, and I was like, that's where Ogeron needs to be though, because he loves them crawfish. He loves.
Oh
them
yeah,
crawfish.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like,
that guy.
that's the perfect place.
Yeah, we won the game.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, man.
I love Ogeron, and I feel like he's honestly, he's something else. So I'm excited to see what he can do with LSU this season.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I can't wait, man.
Speaking of LSU, these guys play Joe Burrow this weekend, so I'm gonna be able to see Joe Burrow play first. So I'm very excited to see what he brings to Cincinnati. To be honest.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not sure, man. On the rookie quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, I was like, I would have taken him to #1, of course. If I'm Cincinnati, I'm taking him all day. But I'm on the fence about his prospects and how good he might be, because I think he's a boom or bust. I don't think he's not an Andrew Luck. You know, it's not surefire that you're going to get a Pro Bowl player out of him. And I feel kind of the same about Herbert. And it's only because he reminds me of Blaine Gabbert, and I don't like that.
I'll tell you one thing. So this is the reason why I would put Herbert above Burrow, and it's no knock on either one. But Herbert we've seen for 4 years now. And all 4 years. Well, no. The last 3 years he was considered. The last 2 years he's considered as a Heisman hopeful, top 5 draft pick. Like people have dubbed him that. I'll tell you one thing though. If you would have given him the receivers that Tua Tagovailoa or Joe Burrow had at LSU and Alabama, respectfully, I think Herbert would have put even bigger numbers. I just think that Herbert didn't have the weapons that he needed to. He had the offensive line at Oregon, but he didn't have the weapons. If you give him top-notch weapons, I feel like a lot of people would be a lot more. A lot of people would be a lot more. How do I want to put this? They would be a lot more. They would be in for Herbert. They would think, oh, you know what? Herbert was actually not that bad of a quarterback. But the thing is, he plays in the Pac-12. People kind of a lot of Pac-12 quarterbacks. And honestly, Brandon, from watching him this last month, I'm actually very impressed with the kid. I mean, he's made mistakes, which every rookie quarterback's going to make.
Yes,
but
of course.
Brandon, he learns from them. And he learns from them as he goes. Like he's made some incredible throws. Like on one of those, he rolls out to the right, off his back foot, throws it up, and his receiver makes the catch. And I was like, well, okay, maybe that's just one. There's another one where he's rolling out to his right. The linebacker was turned around watching him. No, he was turned around watching the receiver. He fits it right in between the helmet and where the receiver's hands were. And I'm like, wait, is this for real? And then I keep on watching him. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, obviously there was no preseason game, so I really don't know if what I saw was real or not. But honestly, I think the Chargers might have something with Herbert. His only problem is that, yes, he's not used to going under center. So if you saw in the Hard Knocks, he was tipping off his snap count. The thing is, when you come up as a quarterback, you have to go, green 80, green hot. Like, you have to be loud no matter if you're running the ball or if you're going to throw the ball, because you don't want to tip your cap. In the NFL, if you tip your cap even a little bit, they're going to know. Defenses are going to know. And that's what I feel like Herbert needs to learn a little bit. And that's why I feel like the Chargers are going to treat this as a redshirt year for the young guy. I think Herbert is going to surprise a lot of people. And then, Brandon, if you look at it, the Chargers have a lot of weapons. They have Hunter Henry. They have Keenan Allen. They have Mike Williams. They have Austin Eckler. And they still have a lot of cap to build on that in next offseason. So, honestly, I feel like if Herbert is able to come in next year and he has those weapons around him, he's going to be like, oh, my God, look at all this. Yeah, I think I can play quarterback in this league, and I think he'll do better. I heard that what they want to do is have him step up his leadership a little bit, be more vocal. He's one of those guys.
He's a quiet kid.
He leads by example. And kind of, you know what, to be honest, Tyrod does the exact same thing.
Yes, he does.
He's not a rah guy. He's like, I'm going to lead by example. I'm not going to lead by giving you guys this whole like Friday Night Lights speech or whatever. Like, I'm going to lead by example. So to be honest, I mean, and that's the thing is that I feel like people try and nitpick. Like, I remember when Melvin Ingram was coming out of school, he had small hands. Well, what does that mean? I mean, look at him. He's been a 3-time Pro Bowler. So what is, like, I remember with I can't remember what Joey Bosa's was. I mean, there was one little knock on him. If he loved football. Brandon, I've been around Joey for 4 years now.
I
let me
could
tell
tell
you,
Joey loved football,
Joey
man.
loves football, and that's all he
Yeah,
like. He loves football and video games, and that's it. Like
yeah,
that's what I can tell you about him. So I mean, I feel like scouts and people try and nitpick at quarterbacks, but a
yeah,
guy like Justin Herbert, I have nothing to pick at. Sometimes it's maybe his decision making, but I'm really interested to see what the kid can do if maybe towards the end of the season, if the Chargers are out of the playoffs, maybe they give him one game with the
yeah.
full on starters and say, hey, let's see what we got. And I'd be very interested to see what Justin could do in that. So I'm very excited to see what Justin can bring to the team. But honestly, I think Justin just needs to take this time to learn. And let me I know I'm kind of talking a lot, but the hiring of Pep Hamilton was huge for the Chargers. Pep
Yeah,
Hamilton is
I like Pep.
honestly, it was like when they were like, oh, we're gonna hire a quarterbacks coach. I'm like, wonder who they're gonna hire, and I saw Pep Hamilton. I'm like, wow, what a great hire! Just because Pep knows what it takes for a quarterback to be an NFL style quarterback.
Hmm.
He's been with Andrew Luck, and you know what's funny, Brandon, is that if Herbert makes a mistake in practice or if he makes a good play, guess who he goes to first when he comes off the field?
Yeah,
Pep
Pep.
Hamilton
It's going to
goes right
Pep.
up to him, and Pep's like, all right, dude, you did this right, but you did this wrong, but you did this and you did that. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, and sometimes you can hear him a little bit. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, wow, he's giving him solid advice. Like, he's like, your hips, move your hips a little bit more, do this, do that. And then when Herbert goes out the next time, you can tell he's doing exactly what coach wanted him to do. So I honestly look out for that Pep Hamilton, Justin Herbert marriage. Cause honestly, when Pep first got hired, he's like, dude, he's like, there's times where like Justin and I would be talking ball till 1 a.m, and I'm like, oh wait, like, dude, we got to go to bed and all that. So,
Yeah.
so you can tell that Justin loves football, and you can tell that that Pep Hamilton is very excited about coaching him for the future.
Oh yeah. For me with Justin Herbert is he reminded me of Blaine Gabbert, but that's only due to his senior year.
Oh
After
yeah,
his junior year, I would have instead of taking Josh Allen if he would have came out, I was on the Justin Herbert bandwagon. I drank the
yeah.
Kool-Aid. I wanted him here because I saw him at Oregon and I liked his game. His senior year, I wouldn't say he took a step back, but he showed some things in his senior year where I watched because we don't get a lot of their games
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Well,
got
yeah,
to
because
see
it's like
maybe three.
it's 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at
Yeah,
night over there. So,
yeah, yeah. So I got to
but
see about 3 games. The Auburn game was a good game. I watched that
yeah,
game start to finish, and I saw and I was like, okay, okay. But as the season went
you
on,
you know what game impressed me? The Rose Bowl. The reason
Rose
why it
Bowl.
impressed me, a lot of people are like, why the Rose Bowl? I'm like, Justin Herbert's arm was not working that game. Wisconsin was covering the receivers well. They were covering the tight ends well. Justin just found a way to win the game, and that's what the name of the game is. Find a way
Yeah,
to win. And what did he do? He took off with his legs. 3 running
took off.
touchdowns. And I give him so much credit for that victory just because I was so impressed with him being able to take off running, doing different things to try and win the game. And honestly, they held on. They were down. They held on at the end. They were able to win that game. And I was like, oh, wow. So this kid knows what it takes to win. And I remember I asked him about that. And he's like, dude, the name of the game is winning. It doesn't like it's not like on the box score, it's not going to say one ugly. No, it's not.
Right.
It's just going to say
Nope.
won the game. And that's what it's about. It's about wins and losses. And I feel like Justin knows how to win ugly. He knows how to win pretty. He knows how to win all that. And I feel like he's the more battle-tested quarterback. Joe Burrow, nobody knew last year.
No.
Tua Tagovailoa has gotten hurt a lot in college. So now and then Jordan Love had a very good junior season, but then had a really bad senior season. So I thought, in my opinion, there was a lot less questions about Justin to me and I honestly, I look at the game differently than a lot of people do. So to me, there were more questions about the other 3 quarterbacks than there were about Justin. But I mean, hey, I mean, I'm not a scout. I'm not any of that. I just think that Justin, just because of the way he played, the way he's carried himself. I mean, and honestly, Brandon, the last 3 I think every single year that he was at Oregon, he had a different offensive coordinator. And
I think so.
Yeah, and then he had 3 head coaching changes in 4 years, and that's not easy. And for him to learn all of those different systems and being able to pick it up, I mean, he won the Heisman for a student athlete last year for intelligence, for grades, and for his athletic ability. So honestly, this kid's smart. He knows what he wants to do. Dude, he's a bio major. Like, what what football player do you know that's a bio major? So, because you could tell that there were some hard classes, and he like told us that he took one certain class for fun. I remember, I just can't remember the name of the class. I looked it up, and it's like one of the hardest classes you'll ever take. And he said he took it for fun. I was like, yep. I was like, this kid is he's a prodigy or something, but he's a very smart kid. So honestly, I'm very excited to see Justin. I know we probably won't see him this year unless something happens to Tyrod or the team is just up in certain games and they decide to put him in. But I'm very excited to see what Justin can bring.
Yeah, man. Very excited, man. Very excited to see these guys. I definitely want to check out that Joe Burrow versus the Chargers. I mean, because that is going to be a tough test. Now, you're going to be without Derwin, and when I heard about Derwin, man, because I love Derwin. I'm a Jalen Ramsey guy. Jalen is my guy, regardless of how people here feel about him. Jalen has always been my guy. I almost cried when the trade went through, man. Like, he's my guy. And so him being very close with Derwin, I started to watch Derwin. I watched him, but as I seen their relationship, watched Derwin more. And I saw Derwin at Florida State, I was like, he really can play almost every position except maybe D tackle, at the end. Like, he can really play all of them. Corners, linebacker, safety, he can do all of it. Kick return, punt return. He could do those things. And so when I heard he got hurt, man, I said, man, I mean, he was ready to take over.
Yeah, and you know what sucks about it is that Derwin he's only a third-year player, but he was stepping into a leadership role with the Chargers. He would break down the defense. He'd say, okay, guys, let's go out there and do his family on 3, 1, 2, family. And like, you could tell he was really stepping into that role. And the Chargers voted on captains today, and it's and to not see Derwin James on it, because all of us thought that Derwin was going to make it, and not see him on it, you're like, oh, that sucks. Like, because the kid, he's a great kid. Like, you go over to his locker and start talking to him, and he'll talk to you for, like, I remember I was asking him, hey, is Dion going to be the head coach for Florida State? And he just started, like, he was like, man, come on. Like, I love Dion, but I don't know if he could be the head coach. I just started laughing, and like, he's just a great kid. I hope he bounces back from this. He kind of reminds me. He kind of reminds me of Keenan Allen a little bit, because Keenan, his first 2 years, he had good seasons with the Chargers. Then he got hurt for 2 in a row. He had the lacerated kidney and the torn ACL. And then Keenan since then has been a Pro Bowler. I think that's what's gonna that could be Derwin James.
I see it,
and I could see because Derwin, honestly, like, Derwin is just like he's just huge. Like, he honestly is Sean Taylor mix. Like, he's like he's like a linebacker playing safety, and the Chargers lined him up in so many different areas that he was hard to prepare for when it came to opposing offenses. Derwin would play linebacker, he would play defensive end sometimes, he would play safety, and it was one of those things where you're like, whoa, like, they're just playing this guy wherever. I remember in the playoff game, Chargers and Patriots in 2018, Bill Belichick was running everything to the left side. Why? Because Derwin James was on the right side. So, I mean, it was just one of those things where even as a rookie, people knew what Derwin James was. And I know people are a little bit down on him in the sense of, oh, he might be injury prone. Dude, you guys don't know. Like, this kid's gonna come back and he's gonna be out for blood. Like, that's how serious I am about Derwin. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a defensive player like him before. So some people say Cam Chancellor, but I think even Derwin's better than what Cam Chancellor was.
I think so too. I think the app comparison can be Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor is probably my favorite defensive player of all time.
Yeah.
Sean was great.
And honestly, I think Derwin could be as good, if not maybe even better than and I mean, Sean Taylor was, dude, when he blasted that punter in a Pro Bowl game, that's how you knew, like, Sean Taylor, no matter where it was, if he had pads on, he was gonna knock you flat out. So.
Green Bay game, he picked Brett Favre up twice and dropped 3 others, man. Dude, he was all over the field, man.
Exactly. No, and honestly, like, and that's what Derwin has, that energy. He has that passion. You can tell he loves this. And you know what's a shame? Joey Bosa and Derwin James have only played in 12 games together.
That's it.
That's it. Can you imagine if you got one of the best defensive ends in the game and the best safety in the game, and you mix that in? I mean, honestly, the Chargers could have one of the best defenses for years to come, and I think they're still building on it, because now they got one of the best young linebackers in the game in Kenneth. Oh, well, that's what I believe is going to end up happening. Kenneth Murray, to me, is a different beast. And I feel like the Chargers possibly could have the best defensive end, the best safety, and the best linebacker in the game, possibly, if Kenneth Murray ends up becoming what I think he's going to end up doing. Because, I mean, watching Oklahoma games, I know that, like, I would watch him and I would always flash.
Yes. Kenneth Murray can turn out to be that guy. And I'm glad you said that about Joey Bosa, because I've seen things about, Nick Bosa was good, and I don't want to take anything away from him. He helped transform that San Francisco defense. They're one of the top defenses. Helped them to the Super Bowl. He was great in the Super Bowl until he ran out of gas in about the fourth quarter, because, his rushes weren't as aggressive in the fourth, because he expended a lot of energy.
I'll tell you one thing, Brandon. If you go back and look at that 3rd and 15 that Patrick Mahomes completes to Tyreek Hill, watch Nick Bosa on that play. He has a free clear sack on Patrick Mahomes, and the offensive lineman yanks him by the pads and yanks him down. I was like,
no, I saw it.
No, I know. I'm just, I love to give Chiefs fans, like I have some family members that are Chiefs fans, and I was like, dude, that was a hold. Like, that was them gifting it to the Chiefs. That's not, because they were the same people saying that the Patriots were gifted all these rings. So I'm like, whoa, I'm like, the Chiefs were just gifted that. No, they weren't. I'm like, dude, Nick Bosa got held. Like, that's a straight up hold. No, it's not. And I'm like, dude, I know where you're headed with this. Where
I'm headed.
Yeah, I think you think that Joey is a little underrated when it comes to I don't think he gets enough recognition at his position.
Yeah, they say who's the best Bosa, and people on Twitter were voting, and Nick was close, but somebody retweeted it the right way. It's Joey, and it's not close. It's not close.
It's not. It's not. And I'll tell you why. And honestly, Joey told me last year that he thought his brother was going to be better than him. But the reason why I don't see it is because if you put Joey in that San Francisco 49ers defense, Joey would have probably had double the sacks.
Yes.
Like, Joey probably breaks the record.
With those defensive linemen?
Exactly. So I think, and this year, I think you might see Joey get about 15 sacks, to be honest, because they added Linval Joseph to the defensive line. And Linval's a mini truck. Like, the dude is huge. So honestly, I think Joey is going to show out this year. I think if the Chargers make the playoffs, like I said, I had them making the playoffs before Derwin got hurt. Now that Derwin's hurt, I don't know if they will or not. But if they do, it'll be on Joey Bosa sacking the quarterback left and right. And honestly, like I was looking at it today, and like Denver's right tackle and their left tackle are out. I'm like, okay, Joey is probably gonna have about 3 sacks in that game. And like I was looking at different games, and I'm like, okay, Joey could probably have another 3 sacks that game. So honestly, Joey does get a lot of and honestly, I think that's just Brandon, if I can be honest, I think it's a Charger thing in general. Keenan Allen is
underrated.
When you look at those lists, the top 5 receivers, the top 10 receivers, Keenan Allen's either at the top, is either never on the list, or he's at the bottom of those lists. And Keenan Allen, to me, is the best route runner right now in the NFL. Him and Devontae Adams are probably
Devontae. I'm glad you said that. Devontae
they're probably tied when it comes to route running. But honestly, Keenan Allen is something else. Like Brandon, there's times where I watch him, just his release, and he just starts shifting his hips. His hips, like if I was a corner, I'd say, okay, his hips tell me he's going left. He actually is able to go right. Even though his hips are telling me he's going left, his hips shift and he goes right. And I'm like, whoa, like this guy's nuts. So it's honestly one of those things where I'm like, okay, Keenan can fool you with his hips. So honestly, I think Keenan and Joey deserve a lot more praise than what they get. I think Mike Williams this year is going to be one of those guys that really surprises a lot of people. Right now he's dealing with a shoulder injury, but I think he'll be fine this season. I think that Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Joey Bosa are going to have something to say this year when it comes to kind of like the hate, not the hate, but like just them not getting on those lists, them not being on those top whatever lists. So I feel like they're going to have something to say about that this upcoming year.
Oh, I think they definitely will, man. I've always thought that as far as teams who are talented, the roster's talented from top to bottom, it's been Philadelphia, Chargers, and the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, top to bottom.
And you know what they all have in common? They always have something go wrong for them, and they're well. Philadelphia just won the big one a couple of years ago with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
But I mean, like before that, I mean, they're some of those teams that have all the talent, but they just have something wrong happen
Something
to
goes
them, and
wrong.
they're just not able to get through. Like the 2006 Chargers against the Patriots. If Marlon McCree falls down after he intercepts Tom Brady, that game's over. You're playing Indy. You probably blow Indy out, and then you go and play Chicago. And Chicago was not a good offensive team. They had Rex Grossman. You probably blow them out too, and you're a Super Bowl champion. Yeah. So it's one of those things where you're like, dang. And then I remember a couple of years ago, LT, he's like, no shade to Phillip Rivers, but if Drew Brees would have stayed, we probably win the next 2 Super Bowls, if not 3. I'm like, dang. Like, I was like, wow, LT. I'm like,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
That is spicy right there.
I think you can Google it and you can find the video. Yeah.
I got it. I'm doing it. As soon as we get done with this, man. Yeah, I did not hear that. I'm surprised that didn't go viral.
I remember it did. And then Philip was asked about it and he's like, no, I mean, LT was just giving his opinion about something, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, no, I remember that clip.
Yeah, I agree with LT, man, because I think Drew. I mean, both are great quarterbacks, but Drew Brees is different, man.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate one more time, and I know I keep on doing it. People didn't know what Drew Brees was gonna be then. I mean, Drew Brees was coming off that shoulder surgery. The Chargers had the 2004 4th overall pick. Young quarterback. So I mean, honestly, I understand why they did it. It was the best for both teams. The one that doesn't get enough grief is Nick Saban for not wanting Drew Brees when he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Oh man, he chose wrong. He took Culpepper, and he should have taken Drew.
But you know what? Hey, he went to Alabama and he won a couple more national championships. So
I'm not a hater on that.
See, there you go. Everything happens for a reason.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does, man. Yes, it does, man. But this has been, we're about an hour in, so this has been awesome, man. We got to do this again sometime, man. Hey,
you need to add that guy. You know who I'm talking about. You need to add Luis into this next time. Tell him to come out of hiding.
Yeah, definitely.
You tell him. I'm glad this is being recorded. You tell him I'm calling him out.
For sure.
He needs to come out here and he needs to talk to me. So
I told he stays at the store. He stays at the store buying Handsome Cream. That's what he does.
Oh, wow. I'm glad to know that nothing has changed with Luis in the last few years. I mean, he may have kids. He may be married, but he's still the same cocky dude that I knew from high school. So,
man,
I'm glad nothing's changed with him.
Yeah, he wears a modest cape though. Yeah. You know, it's not all out there. He wears a modest cape though. He does. He does.
I'm sure. I hope his wife keeps him in check, because that balloon. Let me tell you, that head turns into a balloon, and that thing will never burst. So I'm glad. Somebody needs to bring him back down, because he'll float up all the way up and he won't come back down. So I hope you keep him in check.
Oh, for sure. Well, let's end the show. Hey, hold on, Fernando. You know, I'll talk to you a little bit more, and we're going to end the show. But hey, guys, we're going to end the show here. But matter of fact, Fernando, tell them all your platforms, where they can follow you on, and where they can find you on Sports Illustrated and all that.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Real F Ramirez, and also Sports Illustrated. Just put Chargers in there and the search engine, and you'll find my website. I have articles, different breakdowns, and I try and write stories about the players so that fans know a little bit more about the person, not just the athlete. So I try and do a little bit of everything, but definitely check it all out. It's great stuff. And on Twitter, I have cool videos, sometimes of Keenan dancing or guys doing some fun stuff. So yeah, I try and bring fun to media. So yeah, I'm awesome. I try and do as much as I can.
That's awesome, man. But hey, guys, remember, check me out at YouTube, The True Definition of a Sports Fanatic. My podcast is of the same name. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and a bunch of other platforms. I'm on Twitter at B_Lampster. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Snapchat, all those things, man. Hey, you guys want to come on? You want to debate me? You want to do shows? Doesn't matter. Come on, guys. I bring it on, man. I'm like Shannon and Skip, man. I'm like Stephen A. I'm debate, man. Let's go. But until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.